I'm at SeaWorld San Antonio for another Barracuda Strike construction update. I'm hearing that the track construction is complete. So here is your big reveal in 3, 2, 1. Holy mackerel. Or holy barracuda is what I should say. Crews did that fast. They have indeed completed the full track construction, and it looks magnificent. I remember there was a construction wall with windows cut out right over here somewhere. So let's start making our way over there, see if it's actually in place. Well, here is Barracuda Strike a little closer in all her glory. And we can see that my theory of this section right here was correct from about 3 weeks ago. They have installed every track piece of that turnaround that does make its way over by the tortoise area. It is that turnaround that we saw very briefly in the teaser video from, I believe, October. It was mid-October when they posted this, and that's all we saw in the video was this little section right here. It looks great. It looks pretty tall. I think the question we all have is, what is the pacing gonna be like? Because some of the turns on this coaster are banked just very, very crazily. I don't even know if that's a word, but it looks like these twists and turns are gonna be a lot of fun. And there's still a lot of clearing over here that hasn't really been used. I see a crane tucked in the corner there. Let's go check that out, as well as that wall I mentioned with the windows. It's right there. I mentioned mackerel earlier. I don't know if I've ever seen mackerel. I don't think these are mackerel. They're always here though. But yeah, this might be the best family invert ever. I mean, we haven't seen it go yet, but I just wonder how much speed is it gonna carry through this first hill? Because if it carries a lot, well, it's going to carry a lot through the rest of the layout, because these other turns, these high points, are much lower than this point right here. If it carries speed through that first turnaround, that second half of the ride is going to be very whippy and fun. As far as the fence goes along the surface of the water down here, I don't see any progress made. And the barriers and those blue floaties out here don't look to be any different from the previous weeks. So they're not done yet with this construction area. We can see some other genie lifts under there. And there's one piece of orange, I don't know what you call it, steel, sitting right there on the side. I don't know where exactly that's gonna go. Could be something with the lift. Maybe it's just a leftover resource, but now let's make our way past the tortoise area. See a vulture just perched. All right, past the tortoise area and the porta potty, we have the crane. We have a lot of extra boxes of pieces on the ground. And then we have that green wall over there with the windows cut out but not yet installed. And through the trees, we see that turnaround. It's gonna come up, bank to the left, and then continue going to the left, and then bank really far outward before coming back down over itself. So it's going to cross under itself and then over itself. I am standing at that beer garden sort of area. The track is right above me for this turnaround. There's the vulture just hanging, perched. And our views over here are crazy good. Wow, just a mess of track. Now this track piece right here in front of me was the last one I saw installed 2 weeks ago. And then all of this leading up above this little roof here to the turnaround is new. And I did want to mention that I saw a comment of someone claiming that this gauge of track is bigger than what was used on Phoenix Rising and Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge. I don't really have data to support that in terms of anything from SeaWorld or B&M. But in looking at the track pieces, the way that they're bolted together, I can see right here, if I zoom in, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts across the top. And that appears to be normal, but going from the top to the bottom of the track piece, we see 4 bolts or 5 bolts that seem to be spaced regularly apart. However, at the corner, there are 2 bolts. And on the corners there, that is different than Phoenix Rising. We don't see that extra bolt. But here we see 2 very closely together. So maybe there is something different about the gauge of the track. Maybe the spine is more reinforced. I don't know if that's going to make a difference in smoothness, but I guess it could, because that is a difference between the other models of this coaster that we've seen. I cannot wait to see the train go right over us right here to the final brakes. That's going to look so cool. And here you get a really easy look at those bolts that I was talking about. You see right by the rails, you have a set of 2 bolts, but then at the top corner, you see the other set of 2. And I don't know, the ones on the bottom next to the rail, the sets of 2, those might also be different than the other family invert models. Now I want to talk about a new theory for this week going forward. And I have 2 theories actually, but these relate to the second most commented thing after the smoothness question. And that is, when are we getting a full layout reveal or a POV from SeaWorld? And my first theory about this question is maybe there's something in the queue line or station area that SeaWorld is not ready to show us, like they're keeping it under wraps. It could be an enclosed area of the ride, it could be a Barracuda aquarium exhibit in the queue line, or it could be something in the station similar to Mako, where you've got sharks swimming up above you on a screen. Just something immersive. I don't know. It doesn't mean it's going to be any of those things. Those are just examples, but I do remember for Texas Stingray Media Day, there were touch pools with stingrays in them. And people wondered, was that going to be added to the queue line? Now, they were in fact not installed on Texas Stingray, but still, I know that plans change. Sometimes things change last minute, and I hope that we get to see everything that SeaWorld San Antonio has thought up for this ride. That's just the first theory. Over here on the far side of the station, we see that train template piece, ride envelope template, I should say, hanging right before the load unload area. It's pretty cool. It'll make its way around the entire track, I'm sure. And we see that ladder material has now worked its way all the way up to the base of the lift. That's a good sign. As far as the chain goes, it does not look like it's been installed just yet. But I want to talk about my second theory, which is more likely of the two, and that is that SeaWorld is waiting for a little bit more construction to happen with this area right here, as well as landscaping all around the entire ride before they give us the POV or full layout, because I think they would like to have a more definite timeline for the opening. Now, what I mean by that is if SeaWorld released the full POV and layout right now, people would share it like crazy because there's been all this anticipation built up. It would go crazy on people's Instagram stories, and YouTubers would be talking about it all the time. They would give 2 to 5 minutes of their time to it. But when SeaWorld releases the opening date in maybe 2 months from now, people would casually mention it for 5 seconds, and that's it. It wouldn't spread as crazy. So I think they're gonna wait until they have a definite opening date. Once all of this has been built up and construction is almost entirely done, and then they're gonna release the POV and full layout and all the ride specs, and the anticipation will be through the roof because people will not only know that the ride is gonna do all this crazy layout and everything, but they're gonna have a date in mind, and they're gonna say, hey, I know when I'm going to SeaWorld next because they just showed me this whole ride, which looks great, and I am gonna go on opening day. So if they do the other thing, people will be like, oh, well, I guess I wanna go to SeaWorld, but I don't know when to go, so I'll just go now. And then I'll go back eventually after this ride opens. But if you give them the POV and the date all at once, people will share that more on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media pages, and the anticipation will just be a lot better. It'll go viral, it'll trend, everyone will be talking about it. So that's just a theory, none of that is confirmed. Now I'm looking through our current window into a construction fence, and I don't notice too much different from 2 weeks ago, honestly. They've got some kind of footers right here in the ground with something metal sticking out. I don't really know what that will be, but I'm sure it'll be the entry side of the queue line. And further over here, it looks like they've been digging some trenches in the dirt. They have the excavator back there. So they're gonna continue working the dirt and installing some stuff in the ground before pouring any more concrete. I see some construction markers over there actually, so that's exciting. And the PLC room or maintenance room back there is still under construction. Here's a better look at those trenches. I'm over here by the steel eel lockers. There's just a lot of dirt and a lot of markers on the ground. You see some by the fence there, but inside or outside of this fence line, there's another one. And I don't know if that was there for the last month or so. It might have been and I just didn't bother to pay attention, but interesting. See a lot of smooth out land right here. I guess I have a new theory. The entrance to the ride could be right here through this fence. Like right after you get on Steel Eel, you get off of it, you just turn left and maybe there'll be an entrance here. I don't know. Now there wasn't much active construction going on today, and behind the scenes we also don't see much going on. See some stuff that's wrapped in plastic, but that's been there for a while. The Steel Eel's making its way into the station. Up a little higher from my normal perch. I don't see anything different, but it should be noted that the trains did arrive on site probably a month ago. And I believe they're more closer to Texas Stingray, so you might be able to see them from that ride. I know some track was between Great White and Catapult Falls, but I'm sure that's been moved by now because the track is done. I actually saw JB Thrills in the park today. Make sure you go subscribe to him for great Texas theme park content. And I want to say thank you for 30,000 subscribers on this channel. I can't believe we're hitting that mark tonight. By the time maybe this video goes live, I don't know, but we will hit that mark tonight at some point. This roller coaster has been a big part of that here at SeaWorld San Antonio, and I will continue to bring you updates as often as I can, usually once a week on Friday nights, but it's looking beautiful so far. And I also want you to know that my special video about the biggest investment I've ever made in this YouTube channel is also coming soon, before 2026, as well as SeaWorld Orlando roller coaster POVs. I'm only missing one in that video, and you'll figure out which one it is, but that just means I have to go back to SeaWorld Orlando at some point. I know I'll be back in Orlando in 2026, but I did just come back from Los Angeles in California, so I have a huge 2-day vlog coming from Disneyland and California Adventure, as well as Knott's Berry Farm and Six Flags Magic Mountain. And if you want to see a little bit of a sneak peek from Magic Mountain, check out both of the YouTube live streams I tried to do. The first one was a failure. The second one was me pretty much giving you a rundown of all the coasters there that I was able to get on. And we will continue to push towards 50,000 subscribers in 2026. Can't thank y'all enough for the support. I'm sure I'll see some of you around the parks. My next time at Six Flags Over Texas will probably be for Tormenta Rampaging Run when it opens. But I hope to be here at SeaWorld San Antonio for the opening of Barracuda Strike because the track is already done. I'm sure a lot of this crew will now move up to Six Flags Over Texas and finish strong with Tormenta. As far as what I promised you guys with the 15,000 subscriber update, I will try to film POVs at Six Flags Fiesta Texas in 2026. Anyway, guys, if you learned nothing in this video, just remember these 3 things. No good deed goes unpunished. Subscribe to me on YouTube. And when you're feeling stuck in life, like our friends at Intamin always say, push down, pull up. I'm going to keep building the anticipation for this ride. That was another day in the Hennisphere.